What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. I'm once again joined by Tyler, and we are back for our Pirates of the Caribbean Community Series, a community series that normally airs every other Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. We understand this is Thursday. We have a lot of content on the channel this week, so that's why we're doing it a day earlier. We are continuing what we started last week, where we introduce a poll, a question to you guys regarding Pirates of the Caribbean, and then we go over the results and we talk about what you guys said, and we also give our thoughts. Last week we talked about Jack Sparrow in Pirates 6. Should it be his last movie? We had a poll, you guys answered, we went over the results, and we talked about what we thought, and we continue doing that. This past week we put up a poll saying, should Pirates 6 be like Thor Ragnarok, like a soft reboot to the franchise, and we got, again, some pretty interesting results. So Tyler and I are going to go back and forth talking about what you guys answered, as well as giving our own opinions. And this is going to continue in 2 weeks on Friday, so 2 weeks tomorrow. We are going to have our next Pirates of the Caribbean video, and today on the channel we are going to have a poll up talking about what that topic is going to be. So make sure you check out our poll, make sure you respond with your answer, and we're going to go over those results in 2 weeks. And we're going to keep doing that for the next little while, kind of spice up the community series. We do think it's working, and you guys are very much responding. We're getting a lot of people answering the poll, more people that are answering the poll than watching the videos, which is a pretty cool thing, actually. So Tyler, we had the question, should Pirates 6 be like Thor Ragnarok? What were the results, and what did you think of them?
So the full question, just so everybody knows, was should Pirates 6 be like Thor Ragnarok, a soft reboot of the Pirates franchise. So the results are in. Out of 437 votes, 86% said yes, Ragnarok was great. So in other words, like the Ragnarok theme was great. And then 14% said no, it doesn't need a soft reboot. I'm actually kind of surprised in the results in a way. I personally voted yes, Ragnarok was great, because of the vision that I have for what they could do with the Pirates franchise, and they could really take it in a whole new direction, and it could make it where it like really breathes new life into it, just like they did with Thor Ragnarok. Because Alex used to hate the Thor movies. I don't even remember if you saw the second Thor in theater. Yeah, he didn't. So I did, and I liked Thor, but to me he was always the weakest of, not like physically he wasn't the weakest. I know he's the strongest, but like weakest character out of all, like solo movie character out of all the other Marvel movie characters. But then Thor Ragnarok came out, and I saw the trailer, and I'm like, man, this looks like completely different. And Alex is like, yeah, I don't know. I'll see. But then he really, really liked Thor Ragnarok. I thought it was like one of their best. I thought it was great. The improv. So what the next bullets that I'm about to hit are the same bullets that I believe that Pirates should try. This, like the theme type, is what I was envisioning when we came up with this question. So the improv level in Thor Ragnarok, it was like 90% improv. You can tell, not because it was like bad jokes. Like, in my opinion, just about every single joke in Thor Ragnarok landed. When it was funny, it was really funny, and it worked really, really well. But it felt like not forced. Like, it felt like sincere humor. Now, there are funny parts, obviously, in Pirates of the Caribbean, as we all know, but I think if there was more improv type stuff to really just let them kind of shine in a way, I feel like it would be even that much better. Like, it would almost be, I don't even know how to explain it, almost like priceless in a way. Like certain scenes would just be like, man, you'll never be able to recreate that type of stuff. Because that's like in Thor Ragnarok. For example, like when he's talking about that's what heroes do, and he takes the ball and he throws the ball. Nobody's expecting it to bounce back. It bounces back, hits him in the face. I mean, nobody expected that. Or Bruce Banner jumping onto the thing. Everybody expected him to turn into the Hulk. He totally doesn't. He's basically dead on the the bridge. And like, just that kind of stuff was so hilarious that it just makes it even more special. You don't see it as a comedy, but like when it was funny, it was funny. And it makes you want to go see another Thor movie. It makes you look forward to seeing just that character Thor. Like in Avengers Infinity War, before I saw it, I watched Thor Ragnarok, and I'm like, I can't wait to see more of Thor. And it's like, I know it's the entire movie, but I really want to see that character. And that's what we kind of almost need for like Jack Sparrow, or even like Henry and Karina. Like those are the new characters, the new generation characters, the future of the Pirates. The future of the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, if they do it correctly, that will allow us to even have a future. of the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, which is kind of the point of what can they of this video, like what can they do to ensure we get Pirates of the Caribbean for the next 10 years, not 10 more movies, because the rate that came out, 10 years will give us like 1.5 movies. But I think you get what I'm saying. But like the comedy that was there, the action was super awesome. The like kind of like craziness and like the different planets, and like it was just kind of like wacky and wonky, but in a way like the planet that is in Thor Ragnarok, if you just changed it a little bit, I mean, I'm not saying like copy and paste, because that wouldn't work, because it's just not right to do that. But if you change it a little bit, I could totally see a island of like these pirates that is similar to Sakaar. Like I totally could, like it would totally work. And Jack Sparrow's on it, and it's like a lot of these guys who he's pissed off over the years, they're there and they can't stand the guy and they want him dead. Like, you can make it work really, really well. And then the last thing that I would say for Thor Ragnarok was when it was serious and emotional, it really worked. Like it was. Like they did a really great job of like showing like here's the fun and the funny stuff, but then when it's serious, it's like now you're gonna feel it. Like we're gonna change the music up, and it's gonna be like it's just gonna feel different. And it's gonna matter when somebody dies or something serious is happening. And Pirates actually does do a pretty good job already on that. But I think those moments would stand out even more if the other parts of the movies were that much, not crazier, but that's the only word I can think of.
So yeah, I agree. When looking at the poll, I actually was pretty caught off guard too by those results. Because I personally really, really loved Thor Ragnarok, and Tyler's right. I hated Thor 1 and 2. I think they're easily the worst movies probably of the MCU. And when it comes to Thor Ragnarok, literally what they did with that franchise, what they did with Thor, and we've talked about that before, is incredible. Is absolutely incredible. They turned a character that was extremely good, at least in the Avengers movies. He was a pretty solid part of it, but his movies overall sucked. And then when it got to Ragnarok, they just pulled a 180 and made him, Tyler's favorite, one of his favorites, one of my favorites easily too. And so that kind of pivot was literally amazing. And so when it came to this poll, I would vote yes too, and I did. So, I was shocked a little bit that people would also agree with that, but overwhelmingly, people said yes. I do think that it worked because of those reasons and because of those themes Tyler was talking about, and it would slide in pretty appropriately with Pirates of the Caribbean. They can do very similar things, and they didn't necessarily have all the problems that the first two Thor movies had, but they have some of them, and I think just implementing just kind of like the fun overall nature of what Thor Ragnarok was. And look at what Thor Ragnarok did. Thor Ragnarok completely reinvigorated Thor. Right? We now want him around, right, forever. When it comes to expiring contracts for the Marvel Universe, Chris Hemsworth is one that's expiring. You'd have to imagine that they want to keep him, but you'd also probably imagine that if Thor Ragnarok was not good, or if it didn't exist, I would wonder if he'd be a character they'd want to keep at all. Because the first two movies are not worth keeping that character around, in my personal opinion. So when it comes to that for Pirates, they need something like this if they want to continue Pirates of the Caribbean. And Thor, they don't have to do it exactly like Thor Ragnarok. Thor Ragnarok is a film that just came out, recently, over this calendar year. And so it's a good thing, too. We can look back at it and say, they could do something similar. They don't have to do something exactly similar, but it's a great example of a franchise that was boring, that was bad, and that completely turned around and made it absolutely fun, very emotional, very action-packed, and just literally when you walked out of Thor Ragnarok, that was just one hell of a ride. It was just fun the entire time. And Pirates of the Caribbean can be that too. Pirates of the Caribbean is a little bit more serious, especially in 2 and 3, but that doesn't mean it can't be the same kind of theme and tone as Thor was. And I think when you look to the future of Pirates, you need a movie that can actually shake Pirates of the Caribbean up, and that's kind of what Tyler and I have been talking about recently over these past couple videos. I think when it comes to Pirates 6, it doesn't need to just be good, but if they want to make future movies, and like Tyler was saying, if they want to make them right, and they want to actually continue, you need to give Pirates a shake-up that's going to make it a very good film. and make a lot of people jump on board. Don't think for a second that new people didn't jump on board with Thor. There's a brand new audience there for Thor. And Pirates doesn't necessarily have that. In fact, we saw with Pirates 5, what we have left is pretty much the die-hard pirate fans. I think the people that watch Pirates 5 are the ones that have watched it from the very beginning. And it made a ton of money, and we know we have those people for sure, but you need more. You want to have more people to extend the life of this franchise. You can't rely on the people that have been there forever, because eventually they kind of get bored with it too eventually, you know? So you need to include a fresh new audience. I think having Pirates feel like Thor is the best way of doing that. So Tyler, with all that being said, what is your kind of vision for what Pirates could do?
So what I was thinking when Alex and I came up with this poll, and I was kind of thinking about, like, it would be really great if the next Pirates of the Caribbean movie kind of took some cues from Thor Ragnarok, hence the video. But what I came up with was, why do we have to keep kind of going by some mythology or, the pirate legends and all that stuff? I was like, you know what? It's already we already have supernatural stuff. Forget about doing like the big, like, I know they already did Blackbeard and all that. That was a catastrophe. But like Captain Kidd or whatever, doesn't even matter. Screw those people. Who cares? That doesn't matter. Make them up. Just make it up. But what you could do, find some kind of artifact that transports them into either a different universe or a different timeline, different universe, whatever, dimension, whatever, I don't care. Have it be Jack, Gibbs, maybe, Will, Henry, Karina, that type of thing. You could have Davy Jones be, like, if it's the Nightmare, it could all play a part. Like, that part doesn't matter. Maybe the answers that they need how to, fully remove the Davy Jones, or the job from Will. Maybe they just can't find it in their world. Let's just say that. I'm just making it up on the fly. Maybe they can't find it in their world, so there's an artifact that's been said that can transport them to other worlds. So that's what they go. They find it. They do. They go to another world. Things are a little bit different. So then here's why it's cool. Because you could have like futuristic or totally unique Pirates outfits. They don't have to look like traditional Pirates outfits like they have been. They could be totally kind of different looking. Just like how, Thor's armor and all the stuff in Ragnarok, like that was very different for Thor. Like he looked way different, but it was awesome looking. Very awesome, actually. So you could do that, like where it's like, yeah, that reminds me of Pirates, but it's kind of like different. Like I've never seen that before. That would be awesome because it's like, oh, wow. That grabs your attention, like where it's like, man, this is Pirates of the Caribbean. So you have that. So then, then you're in this whole other world, or maybe they do it twice or something like that. And then you can change it where, the action or the way that the pirate ships and all that stuff, like the battles, could be different. I'm not saying use lightsabers instead of swords. They can still use swords, but you can make them just different. And they could get creative. The pistols and all that stuff, it could be different. Maybe it would be like, well, what happens if they still have swords, but the guns have advanced, but it's still like, but other things are maybe even older. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe, I don't know, like maybe there's even more like sea monsters and stuff that don't exist in our current universe, or that type of thing where it's like the Kraken isn't dead in this universe and has not been the pet of Davy Jones. So you could do that kind of stuff. You could kind of bring things back, make them different, add more supernatural type stuff, make it where it's like, oh well, people don't really, only the crazy people are the ones that take to the sea because the seas here are so crazy. And it's like you could have like red skies and just totally different stuff, storms all the time. You could kind of add some Mad Max elements, or it's like the frickin', because in my opinion, at World's End with the Maelstrom and all that stuff, that made it super awesome. Having a battle in that whirlpool, that was awesome. But the rain and the lightning, that was so cool. You can make it where, like, in this universe, the weather kind of gets a little bit beyond crazy. So you have these massive storms for these massive set pieces. You could have, CG is so good now that you can have, like, these mountainous, like, islands in the middle of the sea, but like maybe things like shift or whatever. Maybe there's titans. It doesn't even matter. It literally doesn't matter because at the end, maybe they come back to our world, or maybe they come back to our world, that they keep that artifact, and maybe in the next movie, they could go somewhere else. It doesn't even matter what they show, as long as it's awesome. That's it. It just has to be fun. If the action is crazy, but there's emotion, there's a reason. When it's serious, it's serious. When it's funny, it's really super funny. The improv is there. You could tell, like, everything feels genuine. And it doesn't even have to, like, Poseidon could be just a being that kind of walks, is among the people. He doesn't have to be a god. Where in our current Pirates of the Caribbean universe, we don't know. Is Poseidon still around? We don't know. I know I made him the villain of my personal Pirate 6 movie, but if I would have thought of this before, that was before Thor Ragnarok, but if I would have thought of this before, I would have came up with a story more like this, where it's like maybe they need Poseidon, and he's not in their regular universe, so they have to seek him out in the next one, or in another world, I should say. But maybe he is something. I don't know. Maybe they have to find his sister. I don't know. But it doesn't matter as long as there is an amazing adventure that, like, people think is awesome. They look different. Their clothes are different. Then they come back to our world, and it's like, what the heck are you wearing? And then maybe some things are like, maybe when they come out, kind of like in Thor Ragnarok, that how the devil's anus, where things just kind of fall out of it. Maybe when they come back, a lot of stuff is spat out. And then maybe in our universe, now some of those sea creatures and all the other stuff, maybe some weapons or whatever, or maybe some of the people themselves, they get kind of sent into our world. And then it kind of starts to change things in our world. They don't have, I guess my point is, they don't have to stick to the same formula, because in my opinion, if they stick to the same formula that they've been sticking to, they have literally, if they even make it, one more movie left, because people are just going to get tired of it, because it's kind of, although for us, we love the movies, it does kind of become like it's the same thing. It's like there really wasn't pirate battles in this movie. Why are we getting away from pirate battles? Really, there wasn't even that many sword fights in this past, fifth movie. Why are we getting away from that kind of stuff? The sea and like that, like the visuals were awesome. The opening was cool with the house and all that stuff, but they kind of are doing, it's like the same stuff over and over, and it's kind of like, yeah, it's Pirates of the Caribbean at its core, but that's it. There's nothing surrounding that core. So you can have a totally new, go somewhere else. Don't even care. Just be very creative. I don't care if you throw darts at the wall and come up with, if you made all these creative things and you have a creative wall and you're throwing darts and you're like, yeah, that, and then this happens and that happens. But as long as it makes sense and it's an awesome movie, funny, totally different, and gets people to go to the theaters, and it's kind of like, yeah, you know what? I'd see the next one of this. Kind of like we did with Thor, which I feel like that's how Thor 3 was, where it's like, I don't know what's going on, but this is awesome. So I guess I almost hope that they're watching this, and they're kind of like, well, we're going to scrap what we've already had, so now we're delaying it 3 more years. But I do truly think, and that's what I'm kind of scared about, is if they keep the path that they've been going down, even though 5 was a step in the right direction, now seeing what people kind of are more attracted to, including, I guess, myself, unfortunately, I don't know if it's going to survive. That's the biggest thing for me.
I agree with a lot of that, and we want to hear from you guys. What do you think of this topic? Do you think they should take influences from Thor Ragnarok for Pirates 6? And if they do, what should they use? How should they form Pirates 6 in order to continue the franchise? Let us know in the comments below. We're going to continue this kind of trend where we're going to be talking about the future movies through the polls, asking you guys questions and having you guys respond to the polls, and then Tyler and I will go over the results and go over what we think of the topic. There's a poll on the channel right now. Go check that poll out. Go vote in it, and we'll talk about that in 2 weeks from tomorrow on the next video. So thank you guys, as always, for watching. We're going to continue doing them for as long as we are going to, which includes through Pirates 6's eventual announcement, which I would assume would be next July, and we'll continue making them through that and then take it to a whole new level after that. So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you on the next Pirates of the Caribbean video.